Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Small Business Saturday tour. I'm Emma from Small Business Saturday team, and I've got Erin Thomas Wong, the founder of the Life Friendly Business Mentor, with me today. Hi, Erin.
Hi, good to be here.
So we've got a webinar today all about how you can master your time management and hopefully get a bit more organized, a bit of a plan at this busy period. I want to say a big thank you to BT for supporting the tour today, and to also let you know that if you attend 10 webinars with us, you will receive a free Christmas present on us. This webinar will be recorded, so you can catch up on anything that you missed, kind of replay anything that you'd like. If you have got some questions, please do pop them in the Q&A at the bottom, because we will be coming back to those at the end. Do get involved in the chat, say hello, as I can see a lot of you are already. We love to hear, where you're from, what your business is, all those good things. So I will hand over to Erin now, because that is enough for me, but I will see you back again at the end.
Lovely. Hi, everyone. Great to see you here. Fantastic turnout. Hello, Tessa. Lovely to see you in the chat. Nice to see or hear familiar faces. I can't quite see you at the moment with my slides, but I'm here today to talk to you about mastering time management. This will be a bit of a fresh perspective for you. And for those of you who follow Canva, you might have seen that it went down this morning, which gave me an absolute heart attack because these slides were in Canva and I didn't have them downloaded. So that's one of those lessons of always download your slides just in case. So I'm a Life Friendly Business Mentor, and I work with women to help them build their businesses, often around family life. I've got a podcast called the Life Friendly Business Podcast. I've got a book called Mumpreneur Evolution. I'm an international speaker, and I was listed in the top 100 female founder. I also list. So I've devised the life friendly business approach. And this is all about creating success on your own terms, but without sacrificing your home life or your well being. So this is really about an anti hustle approach. And one of the key things that we need in order to have this life friendly business is to learn how to be savvy with our time. So everything I talk about today, I'm going to be talking about it from the angle of making your business more life friendly. Because the truth is, when we're small business owners, maybe you're solopreneurs as well, there is so much that we have to think about. And often we are living in this snow globe brain. So when you shake up a snow globe, all the snow goes everywhere. You can't see clearly through that water because of that. And that means that you're not going to be making the best decisions in your business. You're not going to be strategic. You're going to be spending a lot of time making knee-jerk reactions, and you're going to be generally feeling overwhelmed. So we need to work out how to put the snow globe down. So this is something that I want you to remember after this talk. When you're feeling overwhelmed and you can't think about what your next step needs to be, you need to put the snow globe down. And sometimes that's 5 minutes and a cup of tea. Other times it might be a few hours or days or even a week. Like, we can't expect our brains to hold all the information all of the time without us reaching this snow globe brain point. So we want to work out how we can lift ourselves out of the weeds of our business and actually into our zone of genius. If you haven't heard of The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, it's an absolute game changer of a book. And he talks about how most of us are living in our zone of excellence, where we're good there and we're really reliable there. But actually, what we want to be doing is living in our zone of genius, where our creativity flows, where things feel easier. And so, we've just made the conscious decision to start our own business, and we want to actually be able to enjoy doing it. We don't want to be thinking about, I'm going to sacrifice everything now so I can get to this certain point and then I can be happy. We need to be thinking about how we can actually enjoy the journey. So all these different things that we have to think about in our business, how do we manage this so that we can focus on what really brings us joy? This is what we're going to cover today: how to prioritize your tasks effectively, how to identify and focus on the high impact tasks that are actually going to drive your business forward, how to streamline daily routines. So, I've got a couple of examples of how to create efficient workflows to save you time and energy. And the overall theme is how to avoid burnout and how to maintain this healthy work-life balance. Just to say, the chat isn't kind of refreshing. So, oh, I've got here, morning all, is the dodgy connection me, or is everyone else struggling with it? Can everyone else hear me okay? If you can just comment. I haven't got any warnings or anything, but just making sure that you can all hear me. There's a bit of feedback. I can hear you okay. I think it's okay now. A bit quiet. Oh, that's strange. Roboting, a bit busy. Okay, busy. I'm telling you what, I'm going to bring out my microphone and just go. Let's try that. Okay, is that any better? I've unplugged my microphone. Better. Oh my goodness, this is a new microphone. I seem to be having lots of issues with microphones. Okay, right. So what we want to be doing in our business is making sure that we're always making progress, because, you know, everything that we do needs to lead towards business growth. So how do we actually do that? Whoops, there we go. How do we make progress when we've only got limited time to work as well? So I often work with women that have got kids, so they're working limited hours, or they might be caring for other people. And sometimes it can just feel like, you know, it often feels like there's not enough time in the day. So how do we actually make sure that we are making this progress on a daily basis? And this is the thing that you need to remember, the 5% rule. This comes from James Wedmore, and he says that 5% of your activities actually lead to 95% of your results. And this is such a great thing to keep in your head, this 5%, because what happens is so much of the time, we're doing the 95% of the stuff because that might be the easier stuff. That might be the stuff that feels faster to tick off. That might be the creating a graphic on Canva, or organizing our desk, or, you know, just something, these little things which we think, oh, if I just get that ticked off, it'll make me feel better. But they're not actually driving your business forward. And so if you feel like you are busy all the time and you literally don't have any spare time to do anything else, but yet you're still not making the sales that you need to make, or you don't feel like you're making the progress, it could be that you are focusing on the 95% instead of the 5%. So how do you know what is a 5% activity? So he says that these are the money generating activities that are actually going to move the needle in your business growth. And this might be different for everyone here. I know there's probably lots of different types of businesses, but I think there's some common themes. So customer fulfillment, you know, if you're not providing what you say you're going to provide, that is going to have a detrimental effect on your business. These are the things that are priorities. Your marketing and your visibility, it's really important that you do make this a priority, even if it feels really uncomfortable. Creating valuable content. You know, we all know the importance of putting the messages out there across all the different ways that we're getting visible. Sales as well, we need to be prioritizing sales every day. We need to be thinking about how we're getting more sales, and customer service. All these things are our 5%. They're what is going to make a difference to our business. And lastly, CEO time. And I'm going to be talking a bit more about that as we go through. The truth is that a lot of the 5% might be uncomfortable. And that's why we're really good at avoiding it. So many people I work with, the whole marketing, putting themselves out there, you know, they just feel so uncomfortable with it that they get busy doing all the 95%. So I want you to think about how you can move yourself into your stretch zone. I don't want you to be living in your panic zone. It's not good for us to be living in our panic zone, not good for our nervous system. But moving into your stretch zone will help you make progress in your business with these 5%. So the big question is, if we're going to be focusing on the 5%, if we could try and work out what they are for ourselves, and we can have a chat in the Q&A afterwards as well, what are you going to do about the 95%? Because right now you're probably really busy in the 95%, in the weeds of the day-to-day of running the business. Because there are so many different things, right? We have to wear all the hats, especially if you're working on your own in the business. So
this is where we think about streamlining. Okay, this is where we think about what can we put in place to help with the 95%. And we need a realistic plan. And what does that actually look like? That's the big question. And the game changer here is by carving out CEO time. You can call it whatever you want, but I love the term CEO time because it makes me step into that role in my business. And you might be thinking, oh no, I'm not the CEO, and feeling really like low in confidence about that. If you are the only person in your business, you are the person with the chief decision-making power. You are also the CEO. You might be everything else as well, the fulfillment, marketer, all this kind of stuff. But you are the CEO. And if we are not taking that time to step outside of our business, we're not going to be strategic. We're not going to be managing our time as effectively as we can, because it's in your remit as the CEO, as the business owner, to zoom out before you zoom in, because you're the one with the vision. This is your business. You need to be strategic and intentional with where you're putting your time, money, and energy. You need to be responsible for working out what your 5% activities are. And you also need to be aware of the areas that need improvement. Running your own business, it's really important that we learn to lead ourselves. So self-leadership, and what comes with that is self-awareness. And that does mean being very honest with ourselves about what our strengths are, but also what our weaknesses are, and kind of looking at that objectively. So where are you losing time, money, energy, and headspace? Are you doing the same tasks over and over again? That reminds me of the quote about doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. Are you constantly in reactive mode? You just feel like you're desperately pedaling to keep up and never really having time to take a breath and think about the bigger picture. Are you relying on writing fresh social media posts for your marketing every day and thinking, I haven't done it yet today? We're going to talk about that. Do you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks? What I'd love you to do after today is conduct a time awareness exercise. This doesn't have to be complicated, but for the next week, I would love you to think about where you're spending your time. And you can write down, you could star the ones that actually you realize actually they're a 5% activity. You could even get your highlighters out and do, this is a 5%, this is a 95%. Which of those tasks that you're doing can actually only be done by you, and which could be done by someone else? So like I said at the beginning, mute. Hello, can you hear me again? Can everyone hear me again now? Give me a little thing. Yes, brilliant. Okay, lovely. Oh, I love technology today. Thank you. So yeah, we want to be living in our zone of genius, right? We want to be doing the things that we enjoy doing. And even though we can do a lot of the things in our business, it doesn't necessarily mean that we should. It doesn't mean that it's the best use of our time. So do a time awareness exercise for the next week and think about your 5% activities, your 95% activities, what can only be done by you and what could be done by someone else. And actually, one thing that often comes out of doing this exercise is the realization that there's a lot of time when you're thinking about work, right? And you're not actually at work or working, but it's in your head. And so to have that self-awareness that actually that might be what's contributing to your overwhelm, is that you're not switching off when you could be. Like really kind of try to notice those things, because once you've acknowledged that that's what's going on, you can make a plan to overcome it. So this is what, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, okay? It can literally be a little printout like this of the date and then the task that you're doing, what time you started it, what time you finished it. And there's also Toggl, which is free, that you can download on your phone, and you can log your activities on that and do lovely graphs and have lovely color coding and things like that. So that's what I would love. I love Toggl, Melanie. Yeah, it's brilliant. So, take this time, and I know that you might leave here and think, oh, I've got too many other things to do. Honestly, this will be a bit of an eye-opener for you. And what it will help you do is identify where you will benefit from streamlining and creating processes. So it will make you recognize how much time you're spending on things that maybe, you know, A, maybe you shouldn't actually be doing that, you should be getting someone else to do it, or B, there could be a lot faster way to do that than you're currently doing. So this might be coming up for you, you know, aren't systems and processes just for bigger businesses? It can feel a bit corporate-y to be talking about frameworks and all these different things. But actually, yes, you do need them. And this is why, even if you work on your own, trying to hold everything into your head can contribute to overwhelm and our snow globe brain. Remember our poor snow globe brain. If you don't have a central system to make a plan, you're going to forget crucial steps, okay? And you don't want to be relying on your brain having to hold all this information. Having this kind of framework in place and these processes can be a great way to keep yourself accountable. And it will also help you get in better shape for if and when you can outsource and get other people to come and help you in your business. Systems and processes will help you to automate and streamline your tasks, to conserve your time and energy. I'm just going to move my chat out the way, for what only you can do. This is the big point, is that you need to conserve your energy for what only you can do in your business. It also allows more time for creativity and helps you feel less stuck to your computer. If you want a life-friendly business, we need these systems and processes to be there to support us so that we can do the other things in our lives that we love as well, and we're not chained to our desk, because what happens then is you start to resent your business. So what I really want to encourage is for you to embrace digital tools. Now, I know this can be a real barrier for some people. They feel overwhelmed by tech. There's too much choice out there. They don't think they know how to use it. But this is where I would say, when you're taking your CEO time and you recognize that there are areas that need improvement in your business, you need to carve out the time to learn these things. There is so much good help out there online, but you can also reach out to people as well. So the first thing to have in place is a project management software. So for example, something like Trello, you know, these all have free levels as well. I always think of this as like online post-it notes. So you can basically just kind of brain dump everything on there. But the point is that this then stays. It's got the longevity. So you can think about your bigger picture and then break it down into smaller tasks. And I'm going to be talking about customer onboarding in a moment. And for example, you could create a card here for what happens every time you take on a new customer with a checklist. And then all you do is duplicate it when you get the new customer, put their name on it or whatever it is. And then you can check off that you're doing all the things that you need to do. So instead of trying to hold all this in your head, it's down on here. And, you know, when you get to the point where you might have a virtual assistant or someone working with you, this is all set up. So there's Trello, there's Asana. Just to say as well, of course, with these things, you can set yourself deadlines and notifications and reminders. These are all designed to help you manage all the things that you're doing as a small business owner. Also, Slack might be a good one, depending on the kind of business that you're running. If you're doing a lot of collaboration, Slack could be good. So have some kind of project management system in place rather than relying on a notebook or random pieces of paper. You want a central system to be able to organize your brain, to organize your snow globe brain. The other thing is calendars and task apps. So I'm still quite amazed how many people are not using online calendars, because these have been designed to help us. And, you know, these are things that can help us have more headspace, get more organized, make sure that we're not missing out on important things. I still have so many people that I know are missing important meetings because they haven't got a reminder that pops up. Like for everything that I do, I have a reminder that pops up, and that's what keeps me on track. So we can really be embracing these tools. So, you know, I live by Google Calendar, and everything is synced to Google Calendar. So I'm not going to get double booked unless some tech gremlin happens. I've got my work calendar, but I've also got my home calendar. So I know when I've got to be there to look after the kids or when my husband's away working. Everything is synced to here, and it just makes such a difference. And Google Tasks is linked to Google Calendar. So you can remind yourself of all these things that you have to do. You can do reoccurring reminders as well, give yourself the notification. So yes, it will take a little bit of time to set up, but this will save you so much time and, most importantly, headspace. So putting this into practice, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So when I work with clients, these are two things that I know people are just like, oh my goodness, it just takes so much time. And, you know, I work with a lot of heart-led business owners as well, and they want to be doing the thing that they love doing. They want to be living in their zone of genius. They don't want to be busy with all the business stuff, okay? And customer onboarding and content creation are the two things that come up time and time again. So I'm going to just talk through some examples of the tech that you can be using to streamline and save you time. I know there's probably lots of different types of businesses here. So when I talk about customer onboarding, I'm talking about the process online. But I think even if you're working one-to-one with people in person today, you're probably doing that admin online. So I know it can be a bit jargony as well, but customer onboarding is the process that new users go through to set up and start using your product or service. So it covers that whole journey from when they first sign up to when they start using you. And I'm going to give you a case study of one of my mentoring clients who is a service provider. She is a counsellor, so she's working with people one-to-one. And she came to me and she was just so overwhelmed and burnt out and absolutely fed up of the fact that she was spending so much time working on all the 95% and not having enough time to actually get more clients and have the client hours that she needed. So this is what she was doing. So a customer was inquiring like through social media or on email, and it was this backwards and forwards, like, can you help me? Are you the right person? Yes. What exactly do you need help with? Okay, these are then she would go to her calendar and she would say, these are the times that I can do a call. And then the other person would have to reply and say, okay. Oh, and then they would finally have a call. And then she would send them a fresh email. She would write the email and she would send her bank details for them to do a bank transfer. And then she'd look in her diary and then she'd give them a list of dates that they could potentially do. Obviously, some people took ages to get back to her. And then she's like, I've given them dates and times and now I've got other stuff in my diary. So that created this kind of anxiety around it. Then she had to send them manual reminders to pay and to set up the call date and to say the call's coming. So she had to hold all this stuff in her head. Then she would have the first paid call. Then she wrote a report for them. And she was saying to me, this report is taking me an hour. I don't even know whether they're reading it. Like, she was feeling really fed up about it. And then she was following up with the email and going through her diary again and saying, I can do this date and that date, and kind of waiting for a response. So, I mean, I'm exhausted even just talking that through. That you can imagine how much time, and that's one person. So if you've got multiple people a week going through this process, you're just going to be a slave to your emails. So I talked to her about Calendly. So this is like a booking software. So you've got Calendly or Acuity. And this syncs with your lovely online calendar. You can set your availability. It all syncs. So if I book something, for home stuff, it will come up on Calendly that I'm not available during that time. The great thing as well is that you can have it as a free call or you can take payment through Calendly. And it sends all the notifications and reminders automatically. So it's something off your list. I then talked to her about Google Forms because she was going backwards and forwards, collecting all this information, copying and pasting it into other documents. If you use something like Google Forms, you can put all the questions that you need the answers to and give them all the information they need from you in one go. And this syncs, you can create an Excel spreadsheet. It will automatically go into your customer database. So how much time is saved from the backwards and forwards? But not only that, it's also a great experience for the customer because it's a lot smoother for them and they get all the information they want from you. Then online payments. So, I know people are apprehensive and that people say to me, oh, but there's fees involved if you use these things. We need to be using them and we need to be factoring into our pricing the cost of the fees. Okay. Like paying someone by backs these days is a complete pain. You have to get that calculator thing out, put the card in, all this stuff. And then you have to like chase payment and blah, blah, blah. Get people to pay up front. I appreciate with some businesses watching, you might have to send an invoice if you're working with corporates. But if you're taking online payments, you're crazy if you're still relying on backs. Just get the fees, work out your pricing to make sure that it includes the fees that this is going to cost you. Emails, okay, create templates. When you're onboarding customers, you're probably saying the same thing over and over again. Yes, we want it to be personable. So therefore, in the template, it's got all the general information and then you can tweak it, but don't keep writing out these emails from scratch every time. And I know that you're probably thinking, oh, well, it's all right because it's quite quick to do, but times that by 5 people a week, that's a good hour of your time. And also with the report. So that was one of her real bugbears. So we went onto Canva and we had a look at the different templates. And actually she realized she found like this 1-page template, which was so smart. And it meant that it actually forced her to kind of really condense the information. It was still enough, but it condensed the information and was so much faster for her to turn around. So we cut out all of these things that were taking up her time and headspace. So people went straight to the either the call booking form or she sent them a Google form. So it completely cut out the backwards and forwards. Automatic reminders were being sent. She had the call, then the emails and the payment and everything is all there ready. She copies and pastes it, does a few little tweaks to make it more personalized. Once again, automatic reminders before the next call. And then the template report just totally sped up that process for her. And then she's got her Calendly booking link for them to be able to book in the next call. So this means no wasting time back and forth on emails, no faffing with available dates and times, no having to remind yourself to send reminders, no manual moving information from one place to the next, no chasing payments, and no writing emails from scratch every time. This saved at least 50% of her time that she was spending on customer onboarding, but also it's about your headspace as well. This is about having a life-friendly approach to business and not being tied to your desk. I'm just going to go through one-to-many for those of you who this is relevant for, and I'm going to use my business as an example. So the one-to-many model allows you to serve more clients and makes it easier to scale your business. And we can really utilize these digital tools in order to get these systems and processes in place. So I have an online membership. So on the sales page, it's got right there and then how you join up. When they click join, or I'm just going to open the chat again. See that? Lovely. Yeah, please do share your experiences in the chat as well. That's really useful for people. So I use Kajabi for my website and to host my membership and my courses and all those things. And this is how it works. So if you're, and for me, I had no idea it could look like this until someone explained it to me. So that's why I'm including this, because just having that knowledge can really help you when you're thinking about how you want to design things for yourself. So someone will pay through the website immediately through PayPal, Stripe, Google Pay, whatever they want. They get an automated email confirmation and receipt. A tag is added to them on my database within Kajabi. It triggers an email sequence, so they get their onboarding with all the information they need. They get a link to book a call with me on my online calendar. It also triggers access to the training, so they can get instant access to the membership online. And I get a notification saying that someone has joined my membership and they've paid the money, and I don't have to do anything. So I could be at the park with the kids, I could be on holiday, and the sales are still able to come in. So there's no barrier to people buying from me. Multiple people could buy at the same time, and it's no extra work for me. People could buy in the middle of the night and get immediate access and confirmation. I don't need to be chasing any payments. That all happens up front. And most importantly, I'm not chained to my desk. So number 2, I feel like I'm speeding up now. It's past. Okay. Number 2 example is content creation. These are the time wasting mistakes that I see. Writing posts directly on a platform and not collating these posts in a document for future use. How many of us have done this? We feel like, oh, I've got to post today. I've got to post something. What am I going to write? And so you just do something and it goes into the ether and it's never to be seen again. Not having a clear strategy and action plan and having your task constantly in your head, not repurposing what you already have, finding yourself paralyzed by overthinking and feeling overwhelmed by it, and not having a system and an evergreen content bank in place. And that is what we are going to talk about. I want you to get proactive with your marketing so that you can reduce the overwhelm by creating a content bank. So we're talking about evergreen content. Evergreen content is content that stays useful and valuable for a long time, while timely content is content that responds to current events, trends, or seasons. So here's an example. This on the left about eating the frog, time management. That is an evergreen post for me. I could share that over and over again. My timely post went to the BBC. So this was like, yesterday this happened. That's great. So yes, I could think of a different way to use this photo, but it wouldn't be the same timely. So there's no point in me saving this post for future use because it's timely, it's in the moment. So hopefully that is clear. And the benefits of having this content bank with our evergreen stuff is that you're always going to have something to use, even when life and work is too busy to think. How many of us feel like we are constantly in a state where everything is just too busy and I don't have time to think about what to put out there on social media? It's going to help you with having a consistent message because you're going to be thinking in themes. So your messaging will be consistent. You can reuse and repurpose this stuff over and over again, and it takes the pressure off. I talk a lot about visibility and how important it is for people to know what it is that you offer and what you stand for. And we do this through having this content bank. And I suggest using content pillars to help organize your thinking. People have different approaches towards content pillars, but this is mine. So it's a mix between what your brand cares about and what your audience cares about. So if you think about stopping the scroll on social media, for example, like that's where we want people to self-identify with what we're talking about. And when you know this, it's going to save you so much time because you're going to create this content. You're going to have this bank of content. You will never run out of things to say. So you're not going to be procrastinating about what to do with your marketing. You can spend your CEO time thinking, right now, this is what's going on in my business. This is what I need to be putting out there. This is what I'm trying to sell. And here's my content bank. I'm going to pull out the stuff that is relevant right now. So this is an example of my 4 pillars: motherhood and business, time management, making it life friendly, mindset. So these are the things that I talk about all the time. And I remember hearing the phrase about thinking of your content like a revolving lighthouse. Okay, it's comforting for people to know what to expect from you. And so people know this is what I talk about. And if you resonate with that, then you're going to stay and you're going to follow me. So, we shouldn't feel like we have to come up with like all this new stuff all the time, because it's okay to talk about the same themes. That's what you want to get known for. And each one of these pillars breaks down into micro topics. So motherhood and business, mum guilt, not being taken seriously, flexible working around childcare, having to stop and start work constantly. So like, here's a video that I did talking about having a poorly child, for example. Time management breaks down into procrastination, having a solid plan, creating CEO time, outsourcing. When you do it like this, you will literally have a list of micro topics from that one pillar of content. Making it life friendly, being the best boss to yourself, working flexibly, measures of success, being realistic, all these different things. Mindset, self-doubt, low confidence. So I'd love you to think about what your 4 pillars would be. Maybe you've already got these in place. If you really struggle with this, ChatGPT is your friend. Go on to ChatGPT, put in your website address and say, please, can you learn about my business? However you want to phrase it, that's a great thing about ChatGPT. You can say, please, could you suggest what my 4 pillars of content could be? Or the 4 themes that you think I talk about most. And you will be amazed at what it comes up with. The point is, each of these topics can be repurposed as blogs and articles, emails, videos, infographics, podcasts, webinars, printable resources. The list goes on, but you will have your core content. You know what you want to say. The next thing to do is to decide where you want to create your content bank. I use Google Docs. So I use Google Docs because I've got an online business manager and it's really easy to share with her. It's up to you what you want to use. Some people use an Excel spreadsheet, for example. So I write my posts. So for example, I have got a Google Doc called Life Friendly Business Value Posts, and I've got #1 and I've written a post, #2, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I do quite a few in one go. Other times I just add them as I think of them. Every time we share that post, we put a date in it and what we've done with it, where we've shared it. And you can revisit this for years and just look at, like, when did I last share it? Okay, it's been a couple of months. I can share that again. I might change the image. I might tweak the writing, but you will never run out of things to post. This is going to save you so much time. This is an example of how I do it on a Google Doc. Totally simple. It's nothing fancy at all. Then you want to think about where you're going to store it. Once again, Trello. I mentioned Trello before. You can create a board for your pillar content and you can store it in there. Just somewhere where you can basically, if you're doing Google Docs, somewhere where you can keep all those Google Docs in one place, just to keep really organized. So once again, you don't have to worry about where you've left things. So these 2 processes that I've talked through alone will save you hours of time and, more importantly, headspace every single week. So streamlining your customer onboarding and streamlining your content creation will take such a weight off. I'd love you to let me know in the chat as well which one of these feels like it would save you most time. Because the truth is, right, our to-do list is never going to be done. And that's actually a good thing, because that means that we're running a viable business. If we run out of ways to keep moving forward with our business, then we're in trouble. So change your relationship with your to-do list. Learn to acknowledge that you've done enough each day. This is back to the self-leadership stuff. You're your own boss, and you have to make that decision. You have to put that boundary in place for yourself. And this is where the realistic scheduling comes up. It's up to you to set and maintain healthy boundaries. When you don't have boundaries in place, you're going to start feeling resentful towards your business. You're going to start feeling resentful towards your customers. Maybe you'll feel resentful towards your friends when they're asking stuff of you and you feel like you've got no headspace because of all the stuff going on in your business. What do you need to thrive on a weekly basis? And how can you put that in first and work your work life around those things? So for me, for 11 years, it was doing the school run. I wanted to pick my kids up from the school gates. And so I had to design my day around that, because when I wanted to and I wasn't able to, it made me feel crap. School holidays, I didn't want to have to be doing calls when they're saying, when are we going out? That made me feel crap. So think about those things for you and what your boundaries need to be. Always know what your priorities are. And this is where CEO time comes in. I do CEO time every Monday morning. My calendar is blocked out before 11 o'clock. I go to the local cafe that opens at 8. I have a vanilla latte. I sit there with my notes and I write myself a fresh to-do list every single Monday morning. I think about what I still need to do, what's new, what's going on in the business at that time, what my priorities are. So it means that I'm being super proactive rather than being reactive. If you start Monday morning in your emails, responding to people instantly, you're just already on this hamster wheel of being reactive. So how can you take back the power so that you can be really strategic? If you want to steal my CEO routine, I do have a mini training with a video and some template worksheets as well. So feel free to DM me or email me and I will send that over to you. But also, you want to be creating a realistic schedule, which includes white space as a buffer. I think one of a fast way to feel like you're failing at everything is to completely jam pack your week with no buffer space at all, because something will always go wrong. We cannot control everything. So if you are living like that every single week, you're always going to feel like you're on the back foot. You're always going to feel like you don't have time for the important things. So we need to be thinking about, what we can say no to, not just saying yes to everything. And honestly, for me, having that white space in my week has made such a difference, especially if you're in a creative type business. When you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed and you've got snow globe brain, you're not going to be able to sit there and write your social media posts. That's for sure. And just remember, when life throws a curveball at you, having these systems and processes in place will help you to bounce back more easily. And from a personal note, over 4 weeks ago now, my son had a really bad bike accident. He fell off his bike, concussion, broken arm, damaged leg, all this kind of stuff. We're still having the repercussions of it now. I'm getting phone calls from school all the time. I'm having to pick him up early. But actually, my business is okay. And actually, October was a brilliant cash month for me because I had these systems and processes in place to support me when that kind of things happen. So because I've got my emails and my social media scheduled, my messages were still going out there because I have my content bank and I have these systems and processes. This is why it's so important, so that we can have this life-friendly approach. And I just want to leave you with this beautiful autumnal picture here. And this is the staircase to success. So often when people come to me and they're just, they're ready to give up and they're so overwhelmed and they feel like they keep getting up some of the steps and then something happens, like a child having an accident or you getting ill or someone else getting ill, and they feel like they're tumbling right back down to the bottom of the steps again. And they're like, why am I even bothering? The truth is that you just need to keep climbing the staircase. And sometimes you might have to hang out on one of the steps or a landing, if we're talking about an indoor staircase, and have a rest. But when you're ready, you'll be able to keep climbing. So nothing is ever lost. And I think that's really important because it's so easy to feel overwhelmed and lose heart when we're trying to juggle all these things. And we have to keep constantly learning as business owners as well. We have to be open to learning new things, embracing all the amazing digital tools that are being created in order to help us save time. So I really hope that has been useful, and I'd love to hear any questions. And I do have a podcast as well if you want to hear more of this stuff. And I'll stop sharing now.
Fabulous. Oh, thank you so much, Erin. Some amazing pieces of advice there. So thank you for that. There's been so much love for you in the chat. There's a few people just asking how they can best get in contact with you. I'm not sure if you wanted to pop something in the chat or...
Yeah, so it's my website's lifefriendlybusiness.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. That would be great. Does anyone want to share anything that came up for them? Anyone going to be brave?
Oh, everyone's saying they've learned so much from today. You are a fabulous mentor. The 5% thing, I agree. That was really, really interesting.
It's a game changer, and it's so simple, isn't it? And I just think that when we're really busy, if you can just think, like, sometimes we might have 1 hour to work on our business. Just think, what's my 5% today? And just focus on that. It really helps with the overwhelm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad. That is so lovely. Thank you, everyone. Has anyone got any questions? Did anyone ask any questions in the Q&A?
There was one person did mention in the chat that they post a lot from their phone and they struggle to know how to keep kind of images and text in an orderly way. Have you got any advice on that?
Yes, so I would use Google Photos. I mean, I should be an ambassador for Google, but I find that stuff really handy. So I've got folders within my Google Photos. For example, I've got a folder called real life photos because, you know, a lot of the time, like I do share a lot of graphics, but a lot of the time those photos get better reach, don't they? So I basically save any real life photos to that folder, and my online business manager has access to it as well. So you could create those different folders. And then, you know, on your phone, you can have Google Docs or Google Keep Notes. And so you could be accessing your content bank from your phone, or actually creating your content bank on your phone while you're sitting in a waiting room or doing something else. So have it all on the go.
Way, yeah, absolutely. Fabulous.
Where's that? Do you track your blog post ideas in the same Google Docs? Yes. So in terms of my pillars, say life friendly business approach pillar, in that document, some things will be really long posts, and I think actually that makes more of a blog post. Other times it will be short. I will also go into that document and look at, say I've written a post about mum guilt. Well, actually I could do a little reel about that now, or I could do a Facebook Live about that now. So yes, it's all, you can repurpose this for whatever you like. But I do, so with the pillar content posts, I will make a note at the top, could be sent as an email, blog post, social post. So yeah, that all works. And also because we don't have to have our content being essays every time, you know, even just like 2 lines, as long as it's going to help them self-identify that this is what they're interested in, then that's really powerful, isn't it?
Totally. Or even if it's reusing old content, you know, throwback posts, those are so kind of underrated, I think, and such an easy win a lot of the time.
ChatGPT and the 4 pillars, honestly, it is astonishing. I did a training for soap makers, and I went onto ChatGPT and said, what could soap makers be talking about for their pillars of content? And it was absolutely mind-blowing. So obviously we have to sanity check that we feel that it's aligned with our brand and what we want to have. But for you know, getting that brainstorming going when you're working on your own and you don't have anyone else to talk to, it's absolutely brilliant. Lovely. So Melissa, I'm 53 and struggle with all the tech. Talking about these things stresses me even more. I totally understand this. I think when you do your time awareness exercise, look at which thing is taking you the most time and start there. So just start with the thing that's going to have the biggest impact for you, and reach out and ask people for help. And yeah, and feel free to send me a message.
Do you have one piece of tech that you feel has kind of changed your life? Like I'm thinking maybe Calendly might be what springs to mind.
I think, to be honest, it's Kajabi for me. But because I've had different websites, like I started on Wix, and then I was told that I'm an e-commerce business now and it needed to be more professional. Wix has improved a lot since then. But so then I went to Joomla, and I had to wait for someone else to make the changes, and I had to pay for management and all those things. And then I went to Kajabi, which I do everything myself. I created the website myself. I create all the course content. And that has basically allowed me to scale my business as one person. So that's my game changer for sure.
Yes. Somebody's asked how you spell that so they can have a look.
Yeah, you've got it right, Kajabi. Yeah. I think it finished last night, but they have got a 50% offer at the moment. So Sarah, I tell you what, send me an email. I don't know whether it's still live because it's American timing, but yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, maybe some time.
Yeah, lovely. Oh, I'm so pleased that was useful for people.
Yeah, if anyone's got any last minute questions, please do, you know, pop them in the chat. And if you've got something that pops up after this webinar, I'm sure Erin will be very happy to answer your questions.
Absolutely. And I've put, so I'm at Life Friendly Biz on Instagram. My website is lifefriendlybusiness.com. And yeah, if you want my CEO time routine, I'll send it over to you for free. Cool. Lovely.
Thank you so much. Well, we will wrap up there today, but thank you so much, Erin, for coming, and thank you all to the small businesses attending today. And I hope that you've got a good plan for the rest of the day, and you can come off and save some time for yourselves for some other things. So thank you again, and
Lovely.
we hope to see you again tomorrow. We're here at 11 a.m. Monday to Friday up until Small Business Saturday on December the 7th.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye, everyone.